Roaring Moon has just been banned in Gen 9 OU as a result of a majority vote from the suspect test. Again. This is the second time this has happened with Roaring Moon. In fact, Roaring Moon has had an insane roller coaster of a tiering history in Generation 9. This Pokemon went from broken to unviable to banned to unbanned to banned again. I'm not even kidding. Let's get into the absurdity surrounding Roaring Moon and why this seems to be the Pokemon at the center of Gen 9's tumultuous tiering. More than any other Pokemon, I would argue. Roaring Moon is an incredible Pokemon when you just look at it at a glance. It's unsurprising that this has been such a competitive titan this whole time. It's a Dragon Dark type Pokemon, an ancient version of Salamence, with the ability Photosynthesis, just like all of the other ancient Paradox Pokemon. Photosynthesis grants a boost to a Pokemon's highest stat if Sunny Day is active or if a booster energy item has been consumed. Grants a 1.3x boost to most stats, but 1.5x if the stat is speed. This is a very powerful ability. Roaring Moon's Dragon Dark typing is also excellent offensively, and the stats are very strong. It has high speed, high attack, even has respectable bulk with 101 special defense and a high HP stat as well. It's an all-around excellent Pokemon, and one of the most popular Dragon Dance sweepers in the whole game. People quickly realized a really powerful combo with Roaring Moon, involving Booster Energy and Acrobatics. Booster Energy is the item exclusive to Paradox Pokemon that gets consumed by them immediately as soon as they switch into the field, and it activates their ability for the stat boost. So Roaring Moon can get an immediate attack boost from Booster Energy, and it now has a free item slot. The move Acrobatics, of course, doubles in power if you have no held item. So Booster Energy is consumed, you have no held item. This is a 110 power flying type attack. And the new mechanic Terastallization is perfect with this. You can Terastallize into the flying type, granting extra flying type stab damage to Acrobatics, and also dodging incoming hits conveniently, because Roaring Moon gains flying typing, granting it a resistance to Fighting, which it was previously weak to, and Bug, which it was previously weak to. You're also neutral to Fairy. This was one of the earliest Terra abuses that people figured out. This was a very powerful way to get offensive, defensive, and a cross synergy with Acrobatics and everything all in one. And as a result, Roaring Moon was considered really, really broken in the initial metagame. I'm talking the first week or so. It was on the tiering radar at the time alongside other broken forces of that initial metagame like Chi-Yu, Palafin, Fluttermane, Iron Bundle. Roaring Moon was talked about in the same breath because people had never seen something like this before, this Terra abuser. This guy who in a single Dragon Dance is not only getting a free attack boost out of nowhere, buffing Acrobatics, but it gets to ignore its previous weaknesses and get extra stab damage and everything on the planet. This was explosive. It was killing people. It was sweeping teams with ease. But people quickly realized that of all the powerful new Pokemon, Roaring Moon was not quite at the peak of the mountain. There were some others that were a bit worse in terms of brokenness. The initial bans were Pokemon like Houndstone, who was abusing Last Respect, Fluttermane, with its overtuned stats and unbelievable typing and Sun synergy, Iron Bundle, Palafin, eventually Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao as well. And Roaring Moon survived through all of this. Roaring Moon was kind of flying under the radar because everything else was so powerful that Roaring Moon seemed a little bit tame comparatively. So Roaring Moon was perfectly acceptable as a presence in the format for a very long time. And in fact, at a certain point it actually dropped to UU tier. It wasn't popular enough in OU to even be ranked in the tier. It was overshadowed by all these other Pokemon, especially because at that time threats like Baxcalibur was still legal, and Baxcalibur was a little bit better of a Dragon Dance threat with its burn immunity and superior stab combo and stuff like that. So Roaring Moon fell initially in an unbelievable turn of events. But then the DLC came out that gave Roaring Moon the new option of Knock Off. It didn't have this before. A lot of stuff lost Knock Off, actually, in Gen 9, but Roaring Moon got Knock Off as a new option in the DLC, and this massively buffed the Pokemon immediately. Because before it relied on Crunch as its Dark Stab, which is not as powerful of an option. Roaring Moon was still an effective sweeper on certain teams, but it could be easily stopped, actually. Physical walls like Dondozo and Terra Fairy Skeledirge, and even Rotom Wash at the time, could handle Roaring Moon and burn it and deal with it. But with Knockoff, you now had a way to deal even more damage than you previously could, and also punish all of those defensive switch-ins for daring to come in against you. A Dondozo coming in and losing its leftovers or heavy-duty boots is significant. It's no longer safe to come in against Roaring Moon, and that's a big deal. And I've talked entirely about Roaring Moon's Dragon Dance acrobatics set so far, but there were more ways to use Roaring Moon, one of which was on Sun teams, because Sun, of course, buffs Roaring Moon's stats with Photosynthesis, and Choice Band Roaring Moon could either get an even higher attack boost from Choice Band and the Photosynthesis boost, or a speed boost at the same time, meaning it's a Choice Band Pokemon with 1.5x speed. Both of those are really powerful ways to go, and Knockoff enhanced that idea even further, because Choice Band Knockoff is very spammable, very difficult to switch in against, and now the guy can do more damage. Knockoff is one of the best attackers in the game, and all of Roaring Moon's sets got buffed by this new addition, leading to Roaring Moon then getting suspect tested and banned from the format. So the guy fell to UU, got one new move option and became broken enough to be banned. How interesting is that? But when the Indigo Disc DLC released, we kind of had another meta reset with a bunch of new stuff added and grounds to retest previously banned Pokemon. So they decided to unban Roaring Moon again and see if it was okay this time. They also unbanned Darkrai and Volcarona and a bunch of other previously banned Pokemon, Gliscor as well. Maybe with new defensive Pokemon here, Roaring Moon would be more manageable this time. You have like Alomomola, who's risen significantly with its high defense, high HP, good pivoting, good scald burning and wish passing and all this. The rise of Alomomola is not great for Roaring Moon, especially because it's prone to getting scald burned. There's Zamazenta in the metagame now, and Zamazenta's pretty good against many common Roaring Moon sets. The presence of Raging Bolt was also a punish to the Terra Flying set, because if you're Terra Flying, you become electric weak and you get easily defeated by a Thunderclap, which has priority on it. So that helped a bit against the Terra Fly set specifically. Roaring Moon has a bit of 4 move slot syndrome. Roaring Moon likes to use options such as Taunt and Roost to help it set up and sweep and take advantage of Terra and stop counterplay. But then it's sacrificing important attacks, and without those attacks like Earthquake, it can't beat Kingambit anymore. Kingambit beats Roaring Moons that choose to drop Earthquake. If they drop Acrobatics, they can't beat Great Tusk. So Roaring Moon has to really pick and choose which matchups it's good against and which it's bad against. That's a little bit of a restriction for it. And Roaring Moon was allowed back again for quite a long time. Roaring Moon was a part of the metagame for a significant amount of time there. And it's interesting how Roaring Moon has adapted to the new environment. A set that has actually risen quite a lot in popularity is Terra Fairy Roaring Moon with Terra Blast, because the combination of Fairy and Dark coverage is almost perfect, and Fairy typing is also excellent defensively, allowing Roaring Moon very consistent setup opportunities. And an item people have been experimenting with on sets like this is Covert Cloak, because Covert Cloak gives you security against some stuff that has been on the rise to counter Roaring Moon lately. Covert Cloak makes you immune to all secondary effects of attacks. So Alomomola goes from a bad matchup into an amazing matchup. They are relying heavily on burning you with Scald to answer you, and you are completely immune to Scald Burn with Covert Cloak. So you can just sit there Dragon Dancing against Alomomola and they're helpless. Especially if they don't realize you have the Covert Cloak and they're clicking Scald, just absolutely playing into your game plan. Pecharunt has also been on the rise, and Pecharunt has the move Malignant Chain, a very powerful move with a 50% chance to apply Toxic Poison, and Pecharunt's ability means that if you poison the enemy, you confuse them. So even though Roaring Moon can come in alright against Malignant Chain in terms of just taking the damage from it, it gets absolutely devastated by the poison and confusion. But with Covert Cloak, you're completely immune to that poison effect. So Roaring Moon can come in against that easier if it's holding a Covert Cloak. So this development was a new and very consistent way to use Roaring Moon that actually has probably the most good matchups, but then this is in conjunction with all the other things Roaring Moon can do. This is yet again a fundamental issue with the Terra mechanic, because while Terra does create fun team building opportunities and decision making in battle, it really enhances and buffs Pokemon exactly like Roaring Moon. And we've seen this multiple times over, you know? Pokemon with boosting moves, especially those that boost speed, are insane with Terra, like Volcarona, Espathra, Baxcalibur, even Kyurem to be honest. Roaring Moon has this Terra Fairy set, it's got the Terra Flying Acrobatics set. Some people run Terra Fire to be immune to burn, some people run Terra Ground to be immune to paralysis and get more damage on Earthquake to hit certain rolls. So the unpredictability of this, and also the fact that even the previous good counterplay to it feels risky, because you don't know if it has the Covert Cloak or what item it has. It could have a Lumberry maybe, or a Choice Band. At least Booster Energy reveals itself to you, so you know that they're vulnerable to Scald, but think of the fact that Knockoff is such a consistent option, and there's no actual one check to this thing, because one check gets beaten by it if it has Taunt or Roost or whatever. It's a bit of a nightmare handling this guy. And the rise of Sun teams have also been very good for Roaring Moon stock. I mean, the guy has Photosynthesis, he gets a Sun boost. He's kind of an auto-include on Sun teams, to be honest. Every Sun team puts a Roaring Moon on, because he's just great. He has knockoff, even as U-turn, he's got such good physical coverage, he's fast, he's powerful. And Sun teams are very good right now. Ninetales has been propping up a lot. Even Dragon Dance sets can be good on Sun teams just for the Photosynthesis boost. You don't need to always run Choice Band. So there was, I believe, a 66% supermajority vote to ban Roaring Moon, and that went through, and now the guy's gone. First ban in quite a while. There was a test on Curum that came back negative. Curum didn't get banned, and the vote was rigged for that one, actually. They realized it was rigged and took it back. What if that happened here? I don't even know. Could they do it again? Have they got increased security measures on that? Maybe this one was rigged too by Moon haters. I don't even know. But regardless, at the moment he's banned. I don't think it was rigged. Probably not this time. They wouldn't let that happen again, surely. Anytime a ban happens, people have a unfavorable reaction to it, I know. I know this. And especially with the absurd history of Roaring Moon, there's this underlying idea of, like, make up your mind here. Do you want Roaring Moon or not? Are we going to unban it again? Is it going to drop to ZU? Like, what's going on here? The guy fell to UU, got back up to OU, banned, unbanned, banned again. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? It is crazy. But to be fair, every single time it got unbanned or banned was because of a huge metagame shift. Getting knockoff was massive. Totally changed the Pokemon. And so was, you know, in a whole DLC releasing. I think it's good that they even retested the guy in the first place, and they retested him for so long. And I think that the impression of a lot of people on Roaring Moon in Gen 9 OU is that it's not really like a beloved Pokemon or anything. It's just kind of there. It's a very straightforward offensive threat. There's a bit of nuance going on with it, with some moveset customization you can do with it, like do you run Taunt or Earthquake or Knock or Acrobatics? You probably always run Knock, but you know what I mean. It's got a diverse moveset, but the way the Pokemon works and wins games and functions is very silly. And I do agree with the idea that against a Roaring Moon, it is very difficult to actually figure out what the hell to do. It's one of those situations, and that's the reason so many Pokemon have been banned from Gen 9. I bring this up in every ban video, but I think that Smogon was handed an impossible task with Gen 9, where whatever they do, they will be yelled at, because the games simply aren't designed around 6v6 singles any longer. They don't really care about the balance of 6v6 singles, which is evident with move designs like Last Respects and Shedtail, and Pokemon like Palafin, that are clearly crazy for singles. And we can all see that, but it puts Smogon in a tough position where they have to make these calls, and it's not an enviable position in my opinion. I think that this is probably a good thing for the metagame. Roaring Moon is taking the jobs of every other physical sweeper. We'll probably end up seeing more variety here, especially on Sun teams where Roaring Moon is just an auto-include slot. Maybe we're going to see more of the other Ancient Paradox forms or more interesting Sun synergy Pokemon like Chlorophyll guys. Sun is going to take a massive hit from this because Roaring Moon was like their best Pokemon, or one of the best Pokemon. So Gen 9 has slowed down its T-Reg action in recent times. I did just say they have been aggressive with it in the past, but lately that's not the case. So do you think they'll ban any more things in the future? The two guys they may ban are Ogerpon Wellspring and Gliscor. Those are the two I see talked about a lot, because Gliscor has the Terra Normal Facade set that is a problem. And is generally just such a powerful, all-in-one defensive guy. Gliscor is another Pokemon that was okay in the past, but got pushed over the edge in some people's eyes because of terastallization. I mean, Terra Normal lets it kill two birds with one stone by now being neutral to incoming ice or water type attacks and gaining stab on facade and often sweeping off that. And there's like the defensive Terra Water and Fairy sets and just the difficulty at killing the guy because of its incredible poison heal chip and immunity to status. And it has knockoff and it has spikes now. They buffed the guy with spikes as an option. So Gliscor was banned in the past, unbanned. They might ban it again. It's possible. We have a precedent now because they did that with Roaring Moon. And then there's Ogerpon Wellspring, who is kind of single-handedly making like 100 Pokemon unviable just by existing. The whole Rain archetype is basically in shambles because of Ogerpon Wellspring. And it's this overwhelming Swords Dance threat in itself. Great defensive and offensive traits. So maybe banning that would result in a better metagame. What's also frustrating about Ogerpon Wellspring in particular is that its main stab move, Ivy Cudgel, is really strong because it doesn't make physical contact, so it's not affected by effects like Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin, or Static, or Flame Body. All those are really important counterplay to physical attackers, but Ogerpon Wellspring sidesteps all of those. And Ogerpon Wellspring has a crit chance on Ivy Cudgel, so even switching into like a resistance or a solid check can get blown through by the additional crit chance that Ivy Cudgel has, which adds annoying variance to the tier. At least we can be thankful that Ogerpon Wellspring is unable to terrestrialize into any type but water. I imagine if it could, we would have banned it long ago, to be honest. Some people are speculating that they're going to ban Muck. I think that's pretty likely in the current climate. It seems that there's a very anti-Muck sentiment. I would push back against that though. People need to calm down on that, but I can't control where the wind blows, can I? I'm only a person, not a god. But what do you think, folks? I'm all ears for what the people think about this, and I will read the comments. Do you like what Roaring Moon added to the game while it was here? Do you think Roaring Moon was fun? Or do you think it's kind of an ignorant physical threat that should have gone a long time ago? I've seen a lot of people are annoyed that Roaring Moon was allowed for so long. It's a divisive Pokemon. And it's naturally one that people like because it's ancient Salamence, it's cool looking. There's that affinity towards it as an iconic guy, but that is a separate thing from game balance, of course. What do you think? Let me know, and thank you for watching.